This is the Stellar 25 from Deep Space FPV. It's a 2.5-inch Cinewhoop that's super durable, and it's got some very cool design features like a captured XT30, a rear-mounted USB-C extension to plug in your flight controller, removable access doors for the DJI O4 Pro and the receiver, and a built-in M10 GPS unit. All the Deep Space quads come with GPS pre-installed, and for me that's huge because there's so many advantages like seeing speed and altitude and not losing your drone, and the cost and weight of a nano GPS just isn't that much. Deep Space is a new company, but they've been killing it lately by designing drones that respond to what pilots actually want. And as you're about to see, the Stellar 25 is full of smart design choices that make it a very capable do-it-all FPV filming rig. But since this is a beefy, ducted Cinewhoop, it's not the quietest drone out there. Here's what it sounds like. But how does it fly? And with this bulletproof design, can we get it under 250 grams? We're gonna take a real close look at this drone to answer those questions and more, and by the end of this video, you'll have a better idea of whether or not this drone is for you. The frame uses a carbon plate for stiffness and plastic ducts for protection and durability. The carbon has a black coating and it looks super premium. It is 3mm thick carbon, which is thicker than you'll see on other 2.5-inch Cinewhoops, and this drone really is built like a tank. These plastic ducts are super strong and reinforced, and they don't have a lot of flex to them. I can't imagine you'd break one of these, but if you did, Deep Space has replacements for $7. You do have easy access to the USB-C port and the SD card on the DJI O4 Pro. Although it's a little tricky to release the SD card, you have to use your pinky or something skinny like a pen to push it in. The motors are the Deep Space Aether 1404 4600 kV, and the props are Gemfan D63 3-bladed props. Our flight controller is an F405 all-in-one board with 40 amp 8-bit ESCs running BlueJay firmware. The battery's mounted lengthwise, which is the way I like it because you can move it forward or backward to adjust center of gravity. The battery strap is held in place by these aluminum rails. The space available for batteries is about 33mm across and 75mm lengthwise. These are the packs that I tested on this drone and they all fit fine. Deep Space recommends using between a 650 to an 1100 milliamp 4S pack on this drone. With the DJI O4 Pro and my ELRS receiver, my Stellar 25 weighs in at 185.5 grams. With this 550 milliamp 4S pack, it weighs 247.3 grams. This is a high voltage pack, and if I charge it up to 4.35 volts, I can fly for about 4 minutes, 20 seconds just cruising around. With a 720 milliamp high voltage 4S pack, it weighs 251.2 grams, and this really is the one thing that just kills me about this drone. This battery is ideal for this drone, and I got 6.5 minutes of mixed cruising and high-speed flying, but it's 251 grams. If you fly the DJI remote and you don't use an external ELRS receiver, your drone will be a few grams lighter and you will be good to go with this setup. If you guys know of a 4S battery that's around 650 to 700 milliamp and that weighs under 65 grams, please let me know. With a 650 milliamp 4S pack, it weighs 267.6 grams, and I was able to fly for about 5 minutes, 15 seconds. With an 850 milliamp 4S pack, it weighs 287.3 grams, and I was able to get about 7.5 minutes of flight time with this pack. I did have some trouble getting satellites my first time out. It just took much longer than an M10 GPS usually does. I tested GPS rescue and it did work fine. The quad was bobbing up and down a little bit, but I didn't have that many satellites and I haven't changed the default settings. But knowing I have that GPS rescue to fall back on is very important because it just gives me a little bit more confidence when I fly. My first impression was that this drone is surprisingly powerful. Those 1404 4600 kV motors provide a ton of thrust with those ducts, and the tune feels great. It's super stable and locked in, but it's also pretty efficient. I did get some long flight times on pretty small batteries. You can fly in a slow and controlled style in tight spaces or around people to get those cinematic style shots, or you can open up the throttle and really rip around. Where I'm flying up in the mountains, there's a lot of wind, so I did have to compensate for it, but the heavy and powerful design of the Stellar 25 gave me a lot more confidence than the lighter weight Micro, and it still feels very controllable. I didn't feel any prop wash, even flying fast and in these windy conditions. It's super stable and the footage comes out great, and I didn't have any problems with jello. If you want to get the best possible cinematic FPV footage out of this drone, you'll want to use ND filters to control your shutter speed. I'm using the new Freewheel ND filters, which have been redesigned to lock in place from the top and bottom, yet you can remove them easily when you need to. I've had a lot of bad experiences with ND filters, but so far these ones seem to work out great. I also recommend turning sharpening all the way down and using the D-Log-M color profile and then applying the official DJI LUT in your editing software, because I think it makes the DJI O4 Pro footage look much better. If you were to compare this drone to the Pavo 20 Pro, I think the Stellar 25 is much more powerful and much more capable outdoors or in windy conditions, but since it's heavier, it's harder to get under 250 grams and it is quite a bit noisier. Here's what the Stellar 25 will look like when it comes to you. I got the version without the DJI O4 Pro and with ELRS. In the box we get an extra set of Gemfan D63 props. These are 63mm 3-bladed props made for ducted quads. Some extra hardware, 3 sets of camera plates so you can use just about any camera system you want, an extra battery strap, a USB-C data cable, a setup guide, and the drone itself. It's anchored onto this cardboard liner with zip ties, and it's super secure and well protected. It looks awesome and it feels super solid in my hands. The camera mount is made from aluminum, and it has a smart design that'll fit the DJI O4 Pro or just about any other camera system you'd want to use by swapping out the included camera inserts. The silicone dampeners do a good job of isolating the O4 Pro camera from vibrations, and I got no jello in my footage. The mount allows for plenty of camera tilt, probably around 30 degrees, but it also allows you to tilt the camera down practically level or to about 5 degrees if you want to fly slow or do real estate fly-throughs. The camera cage has been very well designed because we have loads of protection for the O4 Pro camera, yet you can fit on ND filters without a problem. And notice that the camera cage sits far forward enough to where you don't see the prop guards in view of your FPV footage, and the camera itself sits far back enough so that it does have some protection in a crash. On top of the camera cage, we have a TPU print that adds more protection for the camera and holds the GPS unit. I love that Deep Space ships all their drones with GPS built in. It's very nice to have, and it can save your quad if you fail safe somewhere you couldn't retrieve it, and it's just nice to have that useful information like speed, distance flown, and distance from home. Although with this GPS up front, there really is no way to mount an external camera, at least not without designing a new print, so keep that in mind if you need to run an external action camera. On the bottom, the frame has 2 access doors, one for the DJI O4 Pro and one for the receiver. In the back, we have another 3D print with a USB-C extension for your flight controller, a captured XT30, and the antenna mounts. The print looks good to me. I really like having this USB-C extension because it makes it so much easier to plug your quad into Betaflight, and the antenna mounts are thick and very strong. In other quads with similar mounts like the Huma 20 and the Cinelog 30 V3, the antenna mounts were weak and the DJI O4 Pro antennas would fall out in a crash, but these seem to be much stronger and do a better job. I did put some zip ties on mine for extra durability, but it's not really necessary. The mounts do have slits in them, so you can install your DJI O4 Pro without removing the antennas from the air unit. That's another one of those small details that really matters to me, because I have to move my DJI O4 Pros from quad to quad, and I don't like removing the antennas more often than I have to, because those UFL connectors are delicate and they can get damaged very easily. So I really like a system that allows me to install and remove my DJI O4 Pro without having to take the antennas off. There is another print for your ELRS antenna, and it seems very solid, and it does provide some separation between the frame and the antenna, so no complaints there. All right, you guys, now it's time for my conclusions. And what I love about this drone is that it flies great and it's super stable, so it's perfect for getting smooth, cinematic FPV shots when you need something that can handle some wind or a fast-moving subject, but it's also easy to control in tight spaces or around people. And the build quality is super solid. I would say that this is one of the most durable quads that I've tested, which would make it great for learning FPV if you're a new pilot, or as a video production workhorse, because it will take a beating without breaking. I also love that Deep Space puts GPS on all their drones as standard, and I wish other manufacturers would start doing this. If you're comparing the Stellar 25 to another drone, I think the built-in GPS will be enough to convince some pilots. I also appreciate all the small innovations and quality of life features that you see in this drone. You can tell that Deep Space really put some thought into those details. All right, you guys, now I'm going to tell you about a few minor complaints I do have with this drone. And first of all that durability does have a cost, and this drone is just a little bit heavy for a sub 250 gram quad. You can fly with this quad in a sub 250 gram setup, but only if you're using a very small 4S battery. If you're using the DJI remote and you don't need an external receiver, you'll get a few extra grams to play with. I was disappointed that I couldn't get my sub 250 720 milliamp high voltage packs under 250 grams on this drone, because those 6.5 minute flight times in a sub 250 gram setup would have been an ideal combination for cinematic FPV. When I needed to be under 250 grams, I was limited to these 550 milliamp 4S packs, which only give me about 4 minutes of flight time. So if you need to be sub 250, just make sure you have some lightweight and preferably high voltage batteries to get decent flight times. If you guys know of any super lightweight 4S packs that weigh between 60 to 70 grams that might allow this quad to come under 250 grams with some decent flight times, definitely share in the comments. I know a lot of pilots will want to know about that, myself included. Another thing to keep in mind is that more weight means more noise, and a relatively heavy ducted Cinewhoop is never going to be the quietest drone out there. Also, if you need to run a naked GoPro or a lightweight action camera, there's no obvious way to do that on this drone. You'd have to move the GPS and install a different 3D print. Now that's not an issue for me because I love the footage I get from the DJI O4 Pro. Fortunately, none of these minor issues are deal breakers, and if you're in the market for a very capable little drone that can rip outdoors yet still fly low and slow around people, you should definitely have a close look at the Stellar 25. All right, you guys, that'll do it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.